Hi, I'm Clara, and I was taught how to use a computer in my senior year in high school. And I taught a computer how to, I teach a computer right now how to analyze the data set on the recent coronavirus, basically the data pre-processing and centralizing part.
Welcome Clara to Devlogs. Clara, studying CS and Stats at the University of Illinois as a sophomore. She boasts TA experience on CS 196, a hackathon win, professional web development experience, and research. Hi Clara,
Hi,
how are you doing?
um, pretty good today despite of the snow.
Yeah.
I'm currently a sophomore at in CS and Stats, and the current projects, I'm still involved. I just recently got involved in the coronavirus data set analysis. I'm planning to get out the pattern between the data in say one city and how they were centralized to give out a clear visualization on how the data trends goes. And how the coronavirus actually increases in different states and how they get cured.
So after taking APCS in high school, you ended up pursuing higher education in computer science. What inspired that decision to do CS in college?
Okay, so when I started college, I was more in the interested in the analysis part, so possibly doing some analysis with R and Python. But then I realized that once you build up a project, you could technically implement something and let people use that. So it's kind of the huge accomplishment, the sense of huge accomplishment.
Okay.
Can I connect?
Accomplishment?
Yeah. I was kind of interested in more interacting with people aside from just writing code, because I used to this kind of activity in high school, and I feel like coding, while coding, you also need to learn how to deal with people and cooperate and get to ask questions. So that's one reason that I would get more involved, because school coursework should not be your main task, like except the circumstance that you really take a lot of technicals, which is not necessary. I feel like in order to, because I from 126, I get to learn that you need to learn more besides the theory stuff if you really want to get into the industry. So that's why I would choose to do some side projects, and it's kind of impossible to get this kind of experience if you only take coursework, because coursework focuses more on the way of thinking and how to get good grades stuff. I feel like if you only solely program, there are only some of the very few clever people in the CS that could really do good in research. So you also need to do some other things to.
It's step up in terms of competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I felt as a freshman at career fairs, because some of my peers freshmen were getting interviews and stuff, and I'm all like, dang, what the heck? What was your expectation of computer science coming to the university, and then how have the last 2 years been?
So I thought that I would have a college life that's mostly sitting there coding and sometimes feel worried about debugging. But after entering college, I realized that computer science involves building up projects, talking with peers, organizing your ideas, and basically you draft out the plan sometimes with your friends and you implement it yourself. The debugging is only say sometimes it's half of the process, but then it's sometimes most of the times it's you think of something yourself and you solve it. So this the way that we do the projects, it's kind of it differs from what I was thinking of computer science. It's not only you code, you debug, and you feel depressed, and then you debug again. Yeah, although sometimes before deadlines it could be, but that's very rare. And you always if you have someone to talk to, that's much better, because you know that someone is debugging with you. you will be lost because you need to balance your time well. But I feel like after going here, I feel like if you actually know what you're doing and you're trying to make a plan, that's actually like pretty easy to implement. And it's also good to know that many people are like learning the same thing with me and sometimes suffering the same.
Yeah, mutual suffering bonds through struggle.
Yeah, but so many people are doing that, and you would like it after you do it for some time. So like last summer when I was doing an internship as a web developer, it's like my first professional experience. So I was not sure how to tackle a problem. But then someone who's already a graduate student, like we went to the library together and put out the code. She told me how to actually drag like to a certain area on a web page and trace that through the source code by doing inspection stuff.
Inspect element.
Yeah. And she just like by doing the, like several examples of like how to search online doing CSS and like googling about HTML, JavaScript, I get to learn like the skill from her, and that's what I keep using for the like next 3 months of my internship. So that was like a hard time in the like it's actually a hard time in the first months, but after I get used to that, I know that it's actually an approachable way to like how you would do web development. It's like a good way to deal with the hard project or hard time. It's like you can. So going back to the last question, ask for someone who's more experienced than you, and then you get that skill from him or her, then it becomes your own. So
yeah, that was a good line. Ask them for experience and about a skill, and it becomes your own. Did you ever find any times or experiences where it made it like things were harder for you because you're a woman?
Yeah, like say some boys around me when we play, they would just joke that like because like you can't do this because you're a girl, but then I know that like since we're friends and like it's because my personality that they know that I would not mind that, but actually I would feel that it's like not right to say about the thing.
Oh no.
Just
This is what you're telling me is great because so boy experience, I don't hear that. Nobody tells me, oh, you're a boy, you can't do it.
okay.
I've never heard that. Okay. And you're sitting here, you're telling me someone told you you're a girl, you can't do it.
Yeah, it's like my friends are kidding, but I still feel like kind of uncomfortable. But I would talk to my friends who are girls about that, and like it's just like it's kind of just funny about that.
Like it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't like you're.
Yeah, it doesn't
being
change
boy or
me.
girl
It's
doesn't
just,
mean.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes I know that they're kidding, but then I just don't like the way to talk about like that.
Dang.
I mean, it's like the person who actually speak it out know that I would not like feel a lot about that. It's just like I would think about that for a second and then forget it.
The fact that you pause, so the concept of like being in the present moment, taking things in, but you describe I have to think about it. That means when you hear, oh Clara, you're a girl, you can't do it, that means your brain stops and gets stuck, like in 233 and interrupt, and then you can move on. Like that's if you have to stop, it has an effect.
Okay.
And that's just like, what do you think? Do you have any suggestions? Like, what do you think needs to change so people don't keep telling girls like, hey, you can't do that? Or just anyone who hears, I can't do this because I'm XYZ. What do you think needs to change?
I think like right now there are like more and more women, and then the other like diversity in the current industry. But I think women should first be more confident about themselves, because if they put the same endeavor into a certain task, they would just achieve the same thing as the boys. So it's more about your attitude instead of like gender stuff. And like if you really don't feel comfortable about like people having this idea, then just trying to hang out with like girls at first and then get to know the boys around the other girls, then you would feel that it's just fine to hang out with whoever have the ability. And you may like after you have the ability, you could change the others.
Yeah, that's really great stuff. For example, someone yesterday, also a girl that was interviewing, she wanted to join 96 course staff, but the person who she was talking to didn't say like, oh, you're a girl, you can't do it, but he said, oh, you're not good at projects, like you're not fit for this role. Not like, hi Clara, we're looking for a JavaScript engineer, but you have Java, you're not fit. It's like, oh, no, you're bad, you can't. And for her, that really like affected her. But she used it as a motivation, and she just did a lot and kept practicing and practicing. Now she's really accomplished. But that's like one example of how these attitudes really have an effect on people's lives.
I feel like it's not necessary to have like extra judgments. It makes you feel bothered. But like if you don't want to feel bothered, then just don't think about it. Or the way that I do it is like to listen to some music.
Music, yeah. And like talking to friends. Yeah. That's good. The support system. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, I feel like girls are actually easier to get interviews, so that's already a huge advantage.
Yeah, people are making moves.
Yeah.
Girls are getting interviews, but they shouldn't feel like I'm getting interviewed because I'm a girl. They should feel like I'm getting interviewed because I'm capable. You agree with that?
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So if you have the ability to learn new things, then you should be able to learn CS because it tests your ability to pick up different things, and you can always ask for support because you always have colleagues in the industry that can help you. As for high school students, that's possibly even easier, or because like you're like young and you always have like the energy to do things, but like you may encounter like obstacles where you could reach out to your professor or your like friends, and the same for university students. I know that even if I'm not confident with my coding ability at the time, I could still build something useful, like with the resources or online. Like after you Google all the things yourself and look into references.
Anything else? Yeah.
Just like keep moving on and don't feel like the others are doing better than you, so you just don't want to move. You need to study from them, and you need to possibly hang out with them, and just be yourself. Don't feel that stressed about things.
Yeah, great.
Try more before you really want to give something up, or just like if you really feel that you're at a limit, then just don't do it. I feel like personally it's kind of like hard to say what I actually feel about each project, but I always know that I could learn something or do something from that. I know something changed, but I feel like you should always like reflect more about yourself after a certain time. But while you're in the process, then just do it and find something else to do when you are really like don't want to do the coding stuff. So just explore the opportunity and make use of it, especially those in your college.
That's a great statement. When you're in the process, just do it, because the time for reflection comes after.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Something I struggle with.
Okay.
Because I was always reviewing, to get to the point where I just like get stuck because I don't do anything because I'm reviewing. So
that's also like that depends on the way people think, like do things. So that's fine.
Your major CS?
Yeah, I'm actually in CS and stats.
I gotta do it again.
Okay. You have mentioned. And what are the other questions?
It's like, why'd you go beyond the classroom?
Thanks for the question. Let me think for half a minute.